Welcome to another session in Microsoft Excel spreadsheets with Mr. TJ Zenda here, and today we are looking at the switch function in Excel, and here is the structure of the switch function in Excel, and we're going to discuss about all these components that you are seeing which are making up the switch function. Now I want you to understand that this switch function, it evaluates a single expression against a list of values and returns the result corresponding to the first matching value. Here is our first matching value, the result that we are going to compare with other values. Okay, so its purpose is to streamline and simplify complex logical tests by replacing messy, hard to read formulas with a clean, easy to digest layout. Okay, now let's start by looking at the class of these learners. I'm going to give a brief background of the table that you are seeing here, right? So here is the school which is receiving three new learners at the beginning of the term or at the beginning of the year, and they want to place these learners in a class. Okay, so what they've decided to do is to print cards which are numbered 1, 2 and 3 and place them in a head or in a small box so that these learners will be able to pick from that box, right? Whatever number that they're going to pick, then they go to that class. If they picked 1, then Jackson must go to A. If Jackson picked 2, he must go to B. If he picked 3, then he must go to C. Okay, so let's start with Jackson here. So I'm going to say equal sign. I want to use the switch function. So as I write my switch function here, I double click. It starts by showing me that I must enter the expression. Now what is the expression? The expression is the value or the cell reference, the formula that you want to test. Okay, so in this case we want to test this card in A7, okay, for Jackson. So if Jackson picks this card which is equivalent to 1, because we don't know yet the number which is on this card, right? We don't know. So if this card is equivalent to 1, which is in F3, Jackson must go to class A. Okay, if this first card, right, remember we say we don't know the number of this card because this card is placed in the box where we don't see. Okay, let's say this card is number 2. Jackson has to go to class B, right? Let's say the same card, maybe it's number 3. If it is number 3, Jackson has to go to class number C, right? If he picked any other card there, I'm going to put a comma, which is not in line with the cards that we have listed here, right? Which means Jackson has no class, right? So I want you to understand that the no class value there, we refer to it as the default value. Now the default value, it is an optional fallback value if none of the values are matched. If none of these values 1, 2, 3 are matched, then we know that Jackson has no class, and the admin of this school, they need to act as to where they should place Jackson. Okay, so let's see now. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm going to press enter. Okay, so Jackson, it means he picked card number 1, so he has to go to class A. So he will be placed in grade 10A. Remember, each grade is 10A, 10B, 10C. So he's going to 10A. Let's go. Let's apply this formula to other learners. Okay, I'm applying the formula so they will go to C. Let's continue with our switch function. So in this case, we have tried to place, we said A7. Okay, if this card in cell A7 is matching the one here, then Jackson has to go to class A. If the card picked is matching 2, let him go to B. If it is matching 3, then he has to go to C. But if any of these are not matching, then we are going to know that he has no class, and the admin of that school, they have to make a proper decision so that they can place him in a class. Okay, so I'm going to press enter there. So you can actually see that he's going back to A then, and then I'm going to drag down the formula, and they will all have class. But let's say I'm changing for Brighton here. I want to insert 1. let's see what's going to happen here. So if I insert 1 there, then place anyone, you can see that if you pick 1, then Brighton will go to A. If Sylvester picks 1 again, then you also go to A. Okay, so we can make any changes there. If Jackson is picking 3, then he will go to class C. Okay, that's the switch function. Let's move on to the fees. Right, so you know that in most cases when new learners are arriving, especially the grade 8 learners, they normally pay the application fees, registration fees, and the tuition fees. Okay, but for the rest of the other grade 9, 10, 11, 12, they simply pay their school fees. So we want to use the switch function in this case. So we are going to say switch, we double click. So we are saying if this learner is in grade 10, okay, if this learner is in grade 10, that is our C7. So this learner, let's say he is in grade 10. Okay, so this learner is in grade 10. If C7 is matching grade 10, okay, what do we want? We want this learner to pay only the fees. Okay, let's go next. Now if this learner, perhaps maybe Jackson, is in grade 12, again Jackson will be paying a total amount of 1.5. But if Jackson is in grade 8 now, if Jackson is in grade 8, Jackson will have to pay everything. So I'm going to say sum here, double click on sum. So he's paying everything from application fees, right, and then registration fees and the school fees. Then you close. Right, if anything is not paid, then we retain the default value, so we can say that he is owing, and then we close our bracket, then we enter. So you can actually see that Jackson is paying 1.5. Why? Because he is in grade 10. But let's apply this formula throughout. But what we need to do now is to make sure that our D cells are locked. Okay, so I'm going to lock our D. I'm going to lock I'm going to use the absolute cell referencing there. Okay, press F4, press F4. I'm going to lock so that these values will not change throughout. Okay, so we need to use absolute cell referencing. Okay, so that when I apply this formula to other learners, it will not change. Okay, now I'm going to apply the same formula to Sylvester and Brighton. Okay, then I drag down. Let's try again, the bottom corner, then it drag down. Okay, so this is what you are going to see. So obviously there, because Sylvester is also in grade 12, you also pay the direct fees of 1.5. But now Brighton is in grade 8, he needs to pay 100 for application fees, registration 400, and 1.5, and this will give you 2000 for the grade. For every grade 8 learner, they have to pay an amount of 2000. Now let's go to this part now. Okay, let's use again our switch function. We can actually use our switch function. In this case, we can say, let's check something here. If we say equal sign and then say weekday, we want to check the weekday of this date. Okay, and then okay, so it's day number 3. It's day number 3. So the weekday of this day is day number 3. Now we want to use the switch function. So equal sign switch function, double click. So in this situation, we want to say weekday. Okay, weekday, then we are referring to this date, right, in B18, right? If it is matching number 1, if it is matching number 1, then it must be Sunday. Okay, right? But if it is matching 7, it is matching 7, then it's day Saturday. Okay, then I close. Okay, then If it is not anything, if it is not Sunday, it is not Saturday, then it's a weekday. My Excel should give me a weekday. Okay, then I close. So it's a weekday. Okay, if I change my date here, maybe by 1 day, I want to change my 2 there. Okay, to make it 1, what's going to happen? Still a weekday, right? What about if I change the month there to 5 and the 31 there? It's a Sunday. So if I change it to 31 May 2026, it becomes a Sunday. So this is how we are going to make use of the switch in terms of checking whether it is a weekday or any day between Saturday and Sunday. Okay. Right. Let's go to the other things that you can apply your switch function. The last thing that we want to talk about is the range. Okay. You can talk about the range. Maybe we want to say Elena is getting a mark of let's say 80 there, right? And you know our grading system, if a learner gets something like an 80 there, so is getting a code 7 or is getting A there, so we want to use our switch function to determine these ranges. Okay, so I'm going to say switch, double click on switch. Okay, so we use a true value there. That's what we are going to use. Okay, so we are going to use our true expression. So we want to say if this learner is getting this mark, if this mark in this cell is greater or equal to, you know, for you to get code 7A there, you need to score something that is 80 and above. Okay, then you'll be able to get your A grade. So in double quotation, you will get your A grade. Okay, now we go the same again. If this mark, right, in B27, if this mark in B27 is greater or equal to 70 there, then we want our Excel to return a B mark. Okay, then let's go to the next. If this cell B27 is greater or equal to, I think the next should be 60 there, then the Excel should return a C grade. Okay, the Excel will return a C grade. But if anything below 60 there, then it must be a fail. Okay, that's our grading system. Then close. So what's going to happen? So this learner has got a mark of 80 there. So this learner will get an A grade. Let's change this 80 to, let's put 75. Let's see what's going to happen to our A there. Is getting a B. Right, let's say it's getting 67. A is getting a C. Let's insert 61 there. A is still getting a C. What about 45? Is getting a fail. So these are the other things in which you can apply your switch function in Excel. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this session. Please let me know if you have any other questions, any other additions. Let me know in the comment section. Okay, so that we can improve in our next session. Please don't forget to share, to subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much. See you in the next session.